All right, so centering, hands across, cone up, plateau down. All right, and now before I do anything else, just like before, I talked about being in a half circle, right? Half sphere, but we want it to be a little bit lower, right? So we're gonna plateau that just a little bit lower before we start, like we normally do. And then I use my dominant hand on top. And now what should my hand look like? A fist, okay? So we get that fist, and I slow my wheel down just a little bit. Okay, so this should be your next step in your notes. You are going to have your fist on the top to plateau, and your other hand is still on the side. I put my dominant hand on the top for more control at this point. So draw some sort of picture where you have your fist on the top, hand on the side. And you're making something that looks like a little baby cake topper or a really, really fat hockey puck. What else does it look like? Huh? A fat cake. Okay? So now I'm going to plateau on the top and push in on the side. Hopefully you have that in your notes. Which hand has more pressure? The fist, the top hand, right? Because we're trying to go down. So we need to have a little bit more pressure. This is the tricky part. This is the part where people don't push enough or almost push too much. And if you push too much and this hand isn't pushing in on the side, you're gonna get this mushroom effect. And then it'll flop over and you'll say, I made a plate. And then I'll say, yes, but you. So we're going to move our fist on the what? Radius, okay? Here's your math lesson. This is the what? The radius. This length is the what? Diameter. And what is this? Circumference, okay? So my fist is in the middle and pulling. Now I pull towards my belly button, or 6 o'clock if you think of it as a clock. Where are my elbows? Down, right? On my legs. Okay, so your piece now, if I measure this, it's about 3/4 an inch. Okay? Now if you want to actually check that with a ruler, great. It's probably your best bet, right? So the point of this, we compress. I'm using the sponge. Okay, this is your next note. You're pushing your sponge down in a straight line on the radius from the inside to the out, and then the out to the in. Okay? My hand that whole time with the sponge was on that straight line in the radius. Okay, I'm not letting the wheel grab my hands or the sponge. If you feel like the wheel is grabbing your hands, you see how I'm actually using 2 hands right now to control that one sponge, and my elbows are down. There's no magic number for this. It really depends how well you wedge. It depends how well you cone and plateau and how you align all those beautiful clay molecules. So everyone always asks me how many times should I do it, so I say 10. Because people want a number. So 10 it is. Compressing 10 times. At this point you can also focus on trying to keep it nice and flat. Okay, there's a couple ways to do the lip of the plate out in the world. So many different ways to throw. But in here, the way that we're going to create the lip is we're going to undercut it with a wooden tool and then raise that lip. So this is the wooden trimming tool you're going to want. Okay? There's a couple of them out in that bin, the wooden trimming tool. But all right, here I'm going to dig in. See the tool is riding. I'm actually gonna move a little bit here so you can see better. Dig under, and I'm gonna lift it up just a little, okay? So if I measure how far I went in, it's again probably 3/4, but you don't have to be that specific. Just dig in just a little bit here, okay? But just know the angle. Everybody gets confused with how we use this tool. The flat part's parallel with the floor. This is the part that you're going to cut under, okay? See some beautiful pictures and notes. Thanks, guys. It'll be really helpful for winning throwback here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this little guy to make it a little thinner, okay? When we raise, we know that we want our fingers going towards each other and our thumbs touching, okay? So we're actually going to use a lot of our fingers so we get a lot more surface area. So taking a look at this because it goes fast, eyes up. We have our fingertips towards each other, my thumbs are touching, my elbows are on my legs. I push my fingertips towards each other and I raise up. When do I take my fingers off? Where? Right before the lip, okay? Right here, my fingers come off. When you go to the top too fast, does anyone have that happen where you have that little swirl? Yep, okay, that little dent, that's because your fingers went all the way to the top. You don't want that. You want to raise up with anything we do, and right before you get to the top, slowly release your pressure and take them off, okay? The other thing you really need to be in a good habit of, this is just good practice with throwing, is compressing your lip. So pinching right here, I do this always by my belly button, I pinch here and I just push down with my sponge, okay? Just gently. If you're making a mug, if you're making a bowl, whatever it is, okay? Just round that off. Now my next step is I'm going to take my 90-degree wooden rib, make a good note about that, 90-degree wooden rib. We're going to use that 90 degree to flatten out our plate and make sure it's nice and even. So we have our 90-degree wooden rib. Hold it on the angle, the tip of it is facing me, that's the angle. And where is my wooden rim moving on? The radius. This time it's going from the center out to 3 o'clock. It's really hard to hold the rib like this, so when you do the rib, you do need to move to the right. And if we move this way, it's going to dig in and pull because the wheel is turning this way. So you have to be doing this on the right side. I like to ride my rib on the outside here, so I flip that 90 degree and I create just a little bit of a ridge because I think it just looks nice to have a little framed off lip. Now I clean up the outside. This outside here, you guys see how nice that is? See how it meets the bed at that 90 degrees? Clean up your bottom now. Do not try and do it later. It's too hard with plates. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this and make it look like that. So it's standing up. So we're just gonna lay it down. People overcomplicate this. This is not complicated. You're literally gonna push it down. Like that, like that. If you're worried, use supports of your fingers and lay it down. Okay, that's it. Okay, what was that math term? From here to here is what? Diameter. So your wire cutter tool better be as long as the diameter. If your wire cutter tool is like this long, or you pull it this taut, yeah, you're gonna really damage your plate, right? So you need to make sure that your fingers are at least the diameter. So you push your wire down and pull toward you. And often people lift up at this point and screw that up. So just keep pushing down at the end. Really focus on that. Okay? Do not lift up now and rip your lip of your plate. Pull it all the way around. Okay? Pay attention. Undercut that piece. Now we're going to be doing more to these pieces, so you can't just let them dry out. You're going to put your whole batten, your cabinet, you're also going to lay a bag over the top of it. Okay? So let me show you that. So you don't need to worry about the bat being super tight around your plate. Just lay a plastic bag on it, okay? And then put the whole bat in your cabinet. And you're gonna just pay attention to that and look at the next day and make sure that it's not too hard. But once it gets leather hard, we're gonna pull